Hey dads, welcome to Father Figures, a podcast dedicated to you, a dad trying to manage and grow your business while being the best family man you can. I'm bringing together dads from all walks of life who live by the mantra, family first, business second. With guests and solo episodes, we'll dive into the lives of dads all over and hear how they manage being the best dad they can, what has worked, and what needs improvement. We'll discuss being a good spouse and role model and dive into the constant pull we have to grow our businesses and support our families financially while supporting them emotionally. Can't wait to have you on this journey. Let's jump in. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of Father Figures. I've got my buddy Mac with me here.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got quite the story. You've got a few businesses that you're working on and running, and out the family, and full-time golf career, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and part of the story is maybe I could work on my golf game a little bit.
There you go.
All that rise in the fall.
So Pro Tour is still on the radar.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, welcome to the show. Would you
Yeah.
mind introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah. Christopher McConville, my friends call me Mac, as Jake alluded earlier. We can kind of dip into the family a little bit. We have two children, ages 22 and 24. Ronnie is 24, just graduated from Marquette master's program. He got his MBA recently. Catherine is up in Minnetonka, and she's working for an accounting firm right now, kind of in their marketing department. She's going to be working on a master's degree here soon in marketing, hoping to get into the University of Minnesota. You want me to kind of talk about the genesis of our little PE firm, I call it?
Yeah, let's jump into that.
So I think you know a little bit about my background. I'm an attorney by trade, and I don't think you've ever held that against me. But
No. No, you're not the typical attorney.
Right,
no
right.
offense.
Right. So practiced for about 8 years, and had a client that I hit it off well with, and get an opportunity for somebody to come in and help him manage basically more sales and marketing in the beginning. And we developed a multi-tiered program for him in marketing, and really grew his company. I was supposed to be his exit strategy.
Okay.
I think this is a typical story people hear. Thanks for coming and thanks for growing my company.
Yeah.
It just didn't, develop into what we mutually had agreed to. But long story short is, Stephanie and I, my wife and I, thought, well, if we could do it for him, why don't we try to do it for ourselves? So we, 22 years ago, we bought Lawrence Manufacturing in Newburgh. Completely different type of manufacturing, more hydraulic driven. And we've owned that since, and went through the tough times of 2003, 2008, and 9. Survived COVID, and still to this day, just a fun company, and was really the basis of us growing into acquisition. It's a more difficult company to grow internally. So we thought through acquisition, we could open up other doors. So we ended up 4 years ago, acquiring Wesco Machine Products. Some synergies there, more of a high tolerance component part manufacturer. So eventually we found a synergy between two companies because we developed a hydraulic cylinder. Fast forward now, about a year ago, we acquired Lifetime Door Company, and I wouldn't have done that hadn't it been for Ronnie. So we'll get back into the son family portion of this, and we had looked at a couple companies together. He was still going to school at the time, working on his master's degree, And we had looked at some acquisition opportunities, and this one came along, and he said, Dad, this would be perfect. I mean, it is not synergistic. It's certainly diverse. And thankfully, because right now manufacturing's down, our company is more construction related. So construction right now is just booming. They can't make, as you well know, they can't make enough housing inventory fast enough. So we're taking advantage of that opportunity through the garage door customers that we have. We do a lot of builders and wholesale with this company. Getting back to Ronnie, it was, and I said, well, if we acquire this, I'm going to really need your help because I'm going to be stretched way too thin. So, case in point is last year, you rarely saw me on the golf course.
No, I tried to get you out there a couple of times, but I got so much stuff going on.
Yeah, and it was because Ronnie was still finishing his master's program, and I was torn between three companies. So it was a good experience for me to just get in to kind of set things up a little bit for him. But it's kind of funny. He's really taken the bull by the horns in that company. The company is doing fantastic under his management leadership skills. And the funny thing is, the development of this and the choice of working with Ronnie and then developing, I mean, we had started already to talk about exit for me with all three companies. And he is just a really unique person in that this skill set for somebody that's 24 and going on 25 is just amazing. The ability to read a room, work with people, different ages, different backgrounds, is just amazing. And he has a leadership quality to him that Steph referred to him the other day as kind of a Teddy Roosevelt. He's really quiet, laid back, great listener.
Yeah. Do you see the Teddy Roosevelt quote in my office?
I did not see that.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, I will. But he does carry a nice big stick too. So he has that ability to really relate to people well, and you can see that in his management and leadership style. And I think he gets that from his mom. So but it's just really fun working with him, and we've already developed an exit strategy. And we're just kind of putting the finishing touches on it now, actually, through some professionals that are helping us. And but the whole family thing is you really never thought of it, and how it was interesting on the way here. I was thinking, how did it become that Ronnie became interested in the three companies? Our daughter, we did present the opportunity for her, and she was not interested because she wants to carve her own path. But it was in a conversation probably at the club where somebody's like, well, Mac, are you thinking about an exit? I'm 63. And I said, yeah, soon. I'm sure we're just going to sell the companies, just put it on the market. And Ronnie was in the room and heard the conversation. But what was funny is he came to staff one day and goes, this time I heard Dad talking about the companies, and he goes, I'm really interested in buying the companies. So we had that conversation, and I said, that's fantastic. I mean, I never even gave it a thought that you would be interested in them. And he said, no, I am very interested in them. He said, I see what you're doing. I like what you're doing. And I think I'd like to take it to the next level. LBC was part of that next level. It's a company that is larger than the other two companies combined. And not only in revenue, but in human capital. In the people, I think we've got close to 50 some employees right now. And most of those are installers that run. Got a great team. And So it was interesting how that developed. And the funny thing is, there were a couple, I said, I'm all in. There were a couple of benchmarks, though, that we wanted him to accomplish. And simple things. One was that we were happy that he was interning for JCI at the time, and he was cutting his teeth with JCI, and the people there loved him, and they offered him a full-time position. And we had thought that, well, maybe this is the time we hire, and we did. He worked with us for, I think, about a year and a half before he came on full-time with LDC. So it was part-time during his master's program. But one of the other things we'd asked him to do is we wanted him to master something. So it was natural. He got his BBA at Whitewater and went to Marquette and got his MBA. The other thing is we wanted him to have his own home. And he did. He did that. He executed that right away. He loves real estate. So he executed that. His MBA did really well in his MBA program. And the one thing if there's anything I can impart to anybody out there regarding their kids, it's, our future, we're dwindling, I think, when it comes to the leadership and management, as we have younger and younger folks in commerce and in the market space. They need leaders. Really encourage parents out there that are business minded to encourage their kids to master in something. It doesn't have to be business, but just mastering in something. You have a master's degree. You are now a leader in that area of study. It's really important for this next generation to have the next set of leaders. And we come from a heavily educated background. It's invaluable, I think. And we need that next generation of leadership and management in place to manage the masses out there. And as you well know, since COVID, the employment world has kind of changed, and it's nice to have somebody like Ryan who understands that generation and how to work with them, as opposed to us old fossils who, work the old way.
Experience.
Experience, right. Experience fossils. So it's really nice to see him work with the younger generation and succeed, actually, in his leadership and a management style. We both kind of manage the same way. Our styles are very similar. He's much quieter. I'm more of the ham of the program, but it works well for both of us. He's running all of our operational meetings right now, and it's fun to sit in on what he's doing and how he's working. So we have our meetings on Wednesdays.
Nice.
We have a Wednesday meeting together where we kind of vet things that are going on in the company, obviously. And it's fun. I've had more fun in my life right now working with my son in our company than I've ever had doing whatever. So
that is amazing. It's fun to have your son so interested in, and kudos to your daughter too for being willing to say like, "Hey, this isn't what I want to do." Right. So you talk about leadership with the kids, like that's some pretty good leadership from her too. To be like, no, I know what I want to do. I want to go do this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
I'm moving to Minnesota. We're gonna go do my own thing. That's it. And obviously, education is very, very important to you guys. And I'm assuming, basically, on what you said, like for you, it's less on what the education is in, like you said, the topic, but more so the act of getting it done. Right? Is that
correct?
More so what you guys were after?
Yeah, exactly. The other thing is, I think we all
should, right? But not
correct. But we all should. My philosophy is we should all be masters of something. Okay, Steph and I are masters of law, if you want to put it that way. But we specialized in something. And I think that sets you apart. I think, I don't know the numbers of the percentage, but I think you're going to find that you're in the upper 5% of the educated classes when you get your master's degree. It's just mastering and having a command of a special, which I think is very important. And I'm totally impressed by Catherine. It was kind of funny. She had been home and had to live through that whole COVID thing as a senior in high school, and then went to the University of Wisconsin to get her undergraduate degree. Still, COVID was affecting the colleges at that time, universities. But she had worked a little bit for us at LDC. She was helping with some of the marketing stuff as an intern, and then she ended up finding a job in Minneapolis. And it was amazing that Steph and I saw a complete change in her personality. And we kind of touched on, well, where was that coming from? Well, she put herself in a professional atmosphere. She worked for a fairly large accounting firm in their marketing area. And you could tell that her personality changed. She's with professionals. She sees this professional life. She now aspires to this professional life in a different, in a different teaching. She wants to be in more of that marketing space and social media. So it was just amazing to see this metamorphosis of her personality just change all for them. And now she's confident young woman that's in a professional atmosphere, interfacing with partners that have been there for 30, 40 years and are now retiring. And she's working with other younger folks as well. So she sees this professional atmosphere, and we just saw a complete wonderful change in her in how she's able to handle herself and interface with others. So and our kids are so much different. Their personalities are different. Which others that have kids will say, I got 4 kids, and boy, not one of them's the same. So it is amazing, just our two, how different they are and how they've, taken different paths. And as parents, you're there to support them. Look, you're there helping and encouraging them and, hopefully giving them whatever they need to succeed. And that I'd like to think that Steph and I put Catherine and Ronnie in situations for success in life. Hopefully you do the right things. You always love them, of course. You love them to death, and you just want to do well for them. But they have to have, that support system. And I think Steph and I given that to them. I'd like to think. Probably more Steph than me.
And were those like purposeful conversations you two had about raising kids, or were they more so just like, hey, that's how we were raised, or that's the opposite of how you guys were raised and didn't want it to be that way?
Touching the point. Yeah, really good. That's a fantastic question, because Steph and I were raised much differently. Growing up. So if there was any friction in our relationship, it was always over how the kids should be raised. So I let Steph take the lead, and she will admit, and I freely admit, if it wasn't for her, the kids wouldn't have grown up the way they did. Because we grew up differently, and we were raised differently. Steph, loved them and nurtured them and had that more sense and empathy. Not the most empathetic guy in the world, I'll freely admit it. So she took over those reins and did a wonderful job with both of them. And to this day, she keeps in constant contact with Catherine, even though she's away, and they have daily chats and FaceTime and whatnot. So, it was Steph. She had a different way of raising the kids, and when you look back on it, it was the best way. No two ways about it. Maybe she'll hear it.
We'll make sure she hears it. I'll make a little clip of that, and I'll send it directly for her to know that she got the credit for it.
Thank you.
So back when I'm gonna go backwards here.
Mhm.
So you said about 21 years ago, you guys bought Lawrence
Correct.
Manufacturing.
Correct.
So Ronnie was 4,
Right.
3 or 4.
3, yeah, 2 or 3, yeah.
Then a baby.
Right.
So when did you leave law and start with your partner, or that kind of partnership that ended up kind of falling through?
Yeah,
So it was right when the kids were.
right. Right. Ronnie was, I think I had been managing that company for, well, it was 10 years. So Ronnie came along, and I think in the 8th year.
Okay.
So we were really, I had worked about 4 years to find Lawrence Manufacturing.
Okay.
Did the networking, worked really hard with bankers and attorneys that were in that space. And eventually, the funny thing is, ended up with a simple broker
Yeah.
that had the company. And it just fell into place. But yes, at that time, Ronnie was only 2 or 3 when, well, it would have been 3, when we acquired ones, and then Catherine came along.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I have that right. Do I have that right? No, Catherine was 1. She was 1 when we acquired Lawrence.
Okay.
So Ronnie would have been, well, they're a big part, so he was, or 2 years apart. So he would have been 3.
Yeah.
Okay. See, my math was in that. But I was trying to.
I'm going back decades.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
Either way, you had little toddlers going around and doing stuff for, like, you know what, life changed. This partnership thing didn't work out. The strategy you guys had, the plan you guys had for those 10 years, kind of just, letting Max went up.
Go on.
Then we gotta find another company.
Right.
What were those first couple of years like? And like those initial conversations when you're like, you two are, you need to find our own company, and you're actually going through the process, and you're trying to raise kids, and there had to have been a little bit of stress and a little bit of
Yeah, I think those first years were pretty stressful. Obviously, we put everything in our life into that company that we had at the time. Whatever we had in a 401k plan, we turned it over and downstroke the company. So it was stressful. You obviously every day you want it to be successful, and as you learn in the business pretty quickly, not every day is successful. So
unfortunately not.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, we all live that. So when you've got, you're thinking about that kind of thing in this place, and working the long hours every day and stuff, taking care of the kids. And I think she had at that time completely dissolved any legal work at that time, and she had tapered off. She was tapering off even before Ronnie was born, because she was a mainstream law, and she was tapering off, and then Ronnie came along and then tapered more. She had her own firm for a while, and then completely tapered off when Catherine got there, because it became a handful and I wasn't wrong all that much the first 3-4 years of Lawrence. So yeah, it was stressful, no doubt, no two ways about it. But looking back at it, I go, yeah, I certainly learned a lot. Yeah. Just by owning your own business, and you make mistakes. Yeah. And you have to sometimes you learn from them, obviously. But the second thing is you have to have a short memory, just like we do on a golf course. Yeah. We get that one bad shot. Be a golfer. We got to move on, because the next shot's your opportunity. So, and that's the approach we took with Lawrence. So it was a lot of fun. I mean, we had loads of fun with that company, and still do. Yeah, it's a fantastic company, and we have some great people in place that really run it well. So it gives me a little opportunity to breathe. So when it started out, I'm assuming you sort of were president, CEO, doing everything. I'm sure that's shifted now, whether it's whether it's going to be Ronnie or you have a president in there right now.
those first, like you said, the first 5 years, there was just a lot going on. What would you have changed? What would you have done differently? If someone else is looking and they got young kids, they want to buy into a business like that, what would you have done differently or do the same?
I know at the time, for better or for worse, I didn't have much of a 10 to 20 year view of what that place was going to look like.
Okay.
I spent more of my time trying to build a sales force, which is more of my background than I love. That's part of the joy I have in all of our businesses is the sales side. And so I guess I was so engulfed in trying to just grow the business from a sales perspective that I really didn't have that 10-year, 20-year plan or really understood where Regardless was going to go. Could I have done it a little differently? It would have been nice to have a sales manager in place, probably, so that we could have maybe spent more time growing the sales side from that level versus my level. Because I had brought in a team of sales reps, manufacturers reps, and I grew that side of the business. But it took a lot of time and a lot of effort, a lot of sweat. I mean, that was where the sweat equity came from. That company was building that program and building that team, and bringing in new products, customers with it. Because that particular company is a very unique entity in the sense that these are all custom designed products that we're making for OEMs across the United States. So it's an engineered product, it has to be prototyped, and then accepted thereafter. And then, so it's the sales cycle is much longer for that company. And I realized that right away. I came from a company where we sat down with the buyer and said, "Do you want to buy a bunch of paint products or coatings?" And they said, "Sure, how much?"
Yeah.
Here it is. Here's a PO.
Yeah.
So it came from that versus this prototyping and whatnot. We always had a good engineering staff, we still do to this day, and I think I would have probably, in hindsight, hired a sales manager to help them.
Okay.
So, and lead me to do more strategic thinking.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
I was like plowing forward. We need sales. We need to grow the company. So that was where I took it.
Yeah. What's that? What's the saying? It's hard to see the forest through the trees, right?
Right.
Right. It's like you're looking at you have so many little things that you need to look at, and you're trying to work on each individual thing and get through day to day. And in those beginning years, it's like, oh my gosh, I got people on payroll. Like we just got sales. Like tomorrow is a new day. I got to get tomorrow. I got to get to tomorrow at least. And then you're like 10 years from now, jeez, I want to get to Friday, right? Like I want to get through whatever. If you guys have one shift, two shifts, like I got all these people to pay,
right?
So it's probably just an extra little grind of
And you think of it too. I mean,
I think people can out-vision themselves too, right?
Right. You can. It's kind of funny you mentioned that. It was even weird the first time that we had to make payroll. Not only make payroll, but debt service on top of it. And it was kind of strange.
I'm going to pay this thing back.
I'm going to pay a bank all this money and pay people and vendors, suppliers. So it was crazy. Once you started really digging into the financial side of how to run a business, it was eye-opening. Nonetheless, I mean, it's just funny, simple things, but you learn really fast. And again, I did less strategic thinking and more day-to-day because I was so focused on helping grow the business.
So now Ronnie's in a different position where the businesses are up and running to where he can probably do a lot more strategic thinking than the daily grind of like, I gotta do this so I can make payroll Friday. It's more so like we kind of got that covered, right? And now it's, how do I expand this? What's the next acquisition that we can look at? Like you guys did a good job of maybe accidentally setting him up for success, right? Because again, like you said, visions were kind of day to day, but over these years, and even up to a couple of years ago, you didn't think Ronnie was interested in taking over.
Right. Right.
And so now you've accidentally set him up for, let's just look at bigger strategic and how do we get bigger and scale faster.
Right. Yeah, it's kind of funny. In fact, we're having our first strategic growth meeting, if you want to put it in those terms, with LBC on Monday with our management team. And we were building our PowerPoint and built it this week to present. He's going to present most of it. I just have a couple of areas that I want to talk to everybody about. And it's kind of funny, he had interviewed me for a class he had in his master's program, and it was about strategic planning. So he had a bunch of questions. At the end of the day, what it came down to, and his professor made this comment after seeing the interview. He said, "Culture does beat strategy." And it eats it for breakfast. And that's kind of what I'd like to think I imparted to Ronnie is, first of all, let's build the right culture. That's part of our conversation on Monday is, what does culture look like here in this company? We're going to do it in more of a dilemma format. So give them opportunities or give them scenarios of how would you react? How do you think we should react as a company given a certain situation? So we want to move our strategy through a culture of good decision making. So we're going to start there. Ronnie's proposal to everybody is, what's our big, hairy, audacious goal? What do we want to do? And where do we want to go? And he's mapped out kind of where he would like to take this. Whether that is through acquisition or through just, what's the term I'm looking for this generic, internal and generic kind of growth.
Like organic growth.
Yeah, that's the term I was looking for. More organic growth, because we have the ability to do both. So where does that lead us? And he's going to spearhead that. So he's
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. He's geeked about it. I said, this is your platform. If you have anything right now, you have this platform to take this LBC company to the next level. And he sees it. He sees it. But the challenge is typically our human capital. And have good quality leaders, and then formulating a good culture, because we came into a culture that needs to be changed. So we're changing culture. At the same time, we want to make sure that it's the right culture for the growth.
Well, it's the old adage of like, build it and they will come, right? So you build a culture within a company, and it does organic. It does kind of, guys are at the bar, they're talking, they're out with friends, they're with other couples, and like, my couple's great. Like, bosses are good, we do stuff, but you can start to build a culture that's well known within there. And if that gets tainted and starts to go down, it's going to be, obviously a challenge to continue to keep the culture going up. But if it starts to go down, again, you have to bring that leadership skill in, which it sounds like he's kind of got that already, to help bring it back. One of my favorites, things, have you heard of Jocko Wilkes? So he's an ex Navy SEAL, Marine type guy. He does like motivational speaking and stuff, and goes in companies. And for their leadership teams, he talks about when a problem arises in one of his companies or a company that he's coaching, like someone comes to you and is like, hey, we got this huge problem, this happened, this sale fell through. They'll just look at him and go, good. Now what? And he's like, it shocks people, because when you say good, they're like, it's not good. What do you mean? This whole thing just fell apart. Whatever the deal was with this person left. Good. Now what? Like, it takes it, puts it back on the person who came to you with the problem. And they're like, oh, you want me to help with this? Like, building the confidence, building the culture, and just knowing that, what it's the old Chinese proverb, like, who am I to say what's good or bad?
Right.
Right. And how many bad things have happened to you in your life, and like it's the best thing.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like God's got a plan for all of it.
Right.
There's bad stuff that's going to happen, and you're going to look at it as bad if you want to see bad, or you can say, good.
It's an opportunity.
It'll really, for some.
Yeah, it really is an opportunity. When part of our open culture and transparency is, look, we need to know all the facts. We need to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. Mm-hmm. Put them on the table. Now, how do we address that? They're all opportunities. To your point, we give our managers the authority to solve a problem. Mm-hmm. But again, if they don't know what your culture is, are you solving it the way you want your culture to be maximized throughout your company? So it's important that we do exercises like this that we're going to do on Monday. It'll be fun to see how they react to it, because it's a little different format. Mm-hmm. But to your earlier point, what would you do in this situation? Because that's exactly what we'll be asking everybody at the table. Okay, we have a rock star to hire that's been in the industry for 40 years, but he's self-serving. He's not doing this. He won't do this. And by the way, he's got a big ego. Should we hire him? Like, what do you think we should do? And he's really good at his job. He's probably the best tech we've got by far. Yeah. But is he the right fit? Mm-hmm. So, that's just one of 4 or 5 examples that we're going to have at the table, so everybody sees the culture and what it knows. I mean, we try to really instill a team-oriented culture, mm-hmm. which, even from a simple standpoint, we ask them, well, how are you pricing your product? Mm-hmm. We don't know. We were just told the price. Yeah. Based on what? We're never told what it was. Yeah. Now sharing information on them, well, here's how we develop a pricing model for our product. Mm-hmm. So this is our pricing model. These are the reasons why. Yeah. And this is the attainable goal if we can get it. If we can't, we can't. And we have to have conversation with the customer and whatnot. So, it's bringing them and teaching them and giving them the information to make decisions and the better decisions, because they know the industry better than we do. Yeah. That's why we acquire them. It was not only, we talk about product, people, and process all the time. And one of the things that we shared with everybody in the company, we have company meetings on a quarterly basis. And we talk about people, product, and process. And one of the things we shared with them was Ronnie and I really like this company because we saw great people, an experienced workforce that we thought we could build off of. Mm-hmm. We saw great product, and the product lines that they have are just wonderful. Kind of the Cadillac of the industry. Man. Heard them, seen them. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's one of our product lines that we're really blessed with is Hot Store. One of the best doors in the market. It's just crazy good. Beautiful doors. The quality is impeccable, and it's a family-owned company. It's a wonderful company. Wonderful people, and their culture is fantastic. And then we talked about process. It was the one thing that we still are working on, process, because they really didn't have process in the company. They were told what to do. Okay. And they executed it. Yeah. Well, they didn't understand exactly, well, what is the process? What am I supposed to do when when I go to a job, what does it look like? Mm-hmm. When I get back, what does it look like? What am I supposed to do? So we're introducing just a lot of different levels of process, but it's as simple as it is that company lack complete process. Mm-hmm. So Ronnie is really spearheading all that, is putting process in place for everything, be it sales, marketing, accounting, HR, operational, warehousing. Our biggest challenge right now is warehousing. We've got a tight warehouse space and we're growing. So now,
Yep.
So those are the challenges he's faced with, and he's going to solve.
Yeah.
Let him solve those.
It's funny you bring it up. I was listening to a talk by a guy named Alex Hormozy this morning on the way in. He was talking about in a company, if you don't have processes in place, some people you can just say, hey, we need to advertise or we need to market it. And they get it and they know exactly what to do. Other people, they look at it and they go, okay, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
They heard you, but they don't know the how to get it done.
Right.
It's like putting a process in place of like, turn on the computer, go to Facebook ads,
right.
Go to this, do this, that, and the other thing. Like a set process so they can never mess it up.
Right.
Once they get to the end, it's like, oh, I'm done. I got to go back to the beginning. I got to do this again for the next thing.
Right.
Do it again for the next thing. It's like make it so repeatable that then the culture within the company just becomes so like, oh, this is our process.
Right.
Like it's in our process book here, but now everybody knows it, so it's just part of the culture. And then as you get little tweaks here and there, like, no, move that.
Right.
Like, then they'll start to figure it out. But the process is, again, it comes back to the leadership skills of Ronnie and what you guys instill in kids and making sure that they build a process that works, right? Whether that's they have mastermind groups or CEO groups that they're talking to and trying to gain all this, or they're learning it somehow and implementing it and make sure that the employees actually listen.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, the brief calls, but yeah, I like what you're alluding to because it's this repeatability that we have to execute. For installers, they see so many different jobs in the field. I mean, not every job is the same. So, but if you have the process that you hit off your list, I've got a checklist of things I have to do before I leave this job.
Yep.
It was funny. They never had software in the field. Well, now all of our guys have software in the field. We take pictures of the job before and after. We have a checklist of things that they have to go through when they complete the job, so that we know and the customer knows the job's complete. The customer comes back to us, and one of the challenges we had was to reduce callbacks, what we call callbacks and warranty calls. When there are a number of different other subcontractors on a job, we would install a door typically, and sometimes the guy that's dropping off all the electrical accidentally puts a hole through one of the sections, and then we get a call out saying you installed a section of the door with a hole in it. No, we didn't. Here are the pictures.
Yeah,
we never had that before. Okay. Before it was okay. We'll run somebody out there and fix it.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it
actually your fault?
Was it the company's fault or was it somebody else's fault?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're finding is in like 60 or 70% of the situations is it's not our fault. Mm-hmm. The other 30 or 40 we need to work on with our guys to make sure that we're not going out there to install a piece of the trim board that should have been installed before we left. Mm-hmm. So again, process and the guys are seeing it, and they're seeing actually the monetary benefit of the savings. I mean, we've reduced through process, we've reduced warranty calls by, we're getting like 35% reduction already within a year because we're really working hard, and it grows it almost is growing monthly. Because the guys are seeing it.
Yep.
So how do they benefit? Part of what we do in our culture is we reward our all of our employees. Look, we all win together. We're all going to share this. So it comes in the form of the bonus. And we have I'd like to think we have a fantastic bonus program that has helped us retain employees over the years. And it's a bonus program that Ronnie loves too. It's like that. This is fantastic. People they see the benefit of what they're doing. It's just not a day-to-day, I'm punching the clock and going home. Well, it's a day-to-day opportunity to make more money for you and your family, because we want our folks to grow professionally and personally. We want them to grow. That's part of what we instill in our managers is like, look, we're all going to win together.
Mm-hmm.
We can all lose together too.
Yep.
So the choice is ours. We want you to win, and we're going to share it with you. We don't want to stuff our pockets full of cash at the end of the year. That's not what Ronnie and I do. We're looking for growth. I mean, when he saw LDC, he said, "Yeah, it's a perfect growth opportunity." I said, I agree, but you're right.
Yeah.
So that's where we are today, and it's. I'll tell you what. I'm working with my son. We got a great trust factor. Well, our character, our personalities match up really well. I mean, we're a little different, obviously, but our personalities are really meshed well in the business world. He is a fantastic leader. Can I play proud dad for a while? I mean, I just think the world of him and his leadership at age 24. And it's just crazy how he relates to people. And if his grandfather were to this day, he reminds me a lot of my dad. My dad had that ability to work with people and really relate to people, whether you were the person, in the janitorial room or you were, a CEO of a company.
Mm-hmm.
He had that ability to relate to everybody of all levels in corporate world. And Ronnie has that unique ability. It's fantastic to watch, and it just makes me smile every time because I think of my dad. Those are characteristics of my dad.
Well, that's awesome. It makes you proud. It makes all the hard work, the sleepless nights, the stress, the premature gray hairs.
Yeah, right. I have a lot of
them. I'm not far behind you. I'm catching up every day, it seems like. What did your dad do?
He was a farmer. He worked, he got his a journeyman's, he was a journeyman welder when he was 16 years old, never finished high school, and worked his way up to first shift superintendent of the bronzing division at Nordberg. Back in the day, it was Nordberg. Now it's Rex Nord or Rex Chainmill that bought it. They had a couple mergers and acquisitions over the years. So he was in charge of like 2,500 people on first shift, and just worked his way through the ranks and was a hard worker, but was able to relate to people and get people to come together as a team and work hard. And that was recognized. Mm-hmm. Again, never got through high school, never graduated high school. But again, had this unique ability to work with people and lead people. He had a great leadership skill, we could tell every day.
Yeah.
But he was a very process-oriented person too, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
He was very process-oriented. And had the ability to take a look at a problem and solve it. Actually, like he was solving these problems for years. I mean, he just had a unique way of looking at a problem solving situation and solve it with help with others. So he's just it's just kind of weird. Some of these characteristics and traits I see in Ronnie, I'm like, I think it's my dad. They're both Ronnies. So my dad. That's my dad.
Yeah,
that's my dad. I see my dad and my son in working.
You got to see a little bit of you in there too, right?
I like to think, yeah. And staff. There's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of empathy. He does care. He cares for our staff and he cares for our people. He wants to make sure, can't please everybody every time, but you can try to get there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Were your kids, were the two of them, like, would you have considered them great leaders when they were kids as well on teams at school? Or is this something that they kind of had to find as they went along?
It's kind of funny. I think the light switch, like I said, for Catherine happened when she worked in a professional setting.
Yeah.
You saw now the leadership skills come right to them.
Yeah.
They were both leaders in just the way they, related to their friends and other family members. Ronnie had a I think his trigger was like football.
Okay.
So being with a team, working with, 40 other, football players and working with good coaching and good teaching at the school that he went to, you could see him develop as a leader.
Mhm.
You could see this development then. He then in Whitewater, we could see it. He reopened a general management organization that had been defunct for 5 or 6 years, and I think one of his professors came to him and asked him, "Would you be interested in doing that?" And then he did. He re-upped that program, and now that program's been alive for since he started it. So it's been alive now for 5 6 years. So and it almost for Ronnie, it was almost like it's such a natural thing. I saw a couple triggers in his life, but it became obvious he was a leader. He was driven. He got his undergraduate degree in three years, maybe, or three, or just 3.5. It could have been 3.5, and he did his master's program in uh, less than a year and a half. So it was crazy how he's just driven to get it done. He knew he needed to get it done, and he understood that was a process.
Yeah.
But he truly gets it. He gets that, and it's just on that. It just kind of evolved naturally, and then getting him and working with him and seeing him in business situations really was fun to see him and take a step back. I always refer to him in this way. He can read a room really well. I mean, lawyers, if you're a trial attorney, which I came from, you need to read people and read the room real fast, particularly a jury that you have to pick, and make sure you're picking the ones that are going to help the client, obviously. So I was just amazed at his ability to read a room at such a young age. That's not. Boy, it's a characteristic you can't teach, by the way. It's not. It's almost like innate. I'm like, wow, he really picked up on that. He walked out of a meeting. I said, "What'd you think?" He went right down the list of the 3 people or 4 people in that room. It was amazing how he read everyone.
It's just having that innate ability to recognize it and use your EQ to just pick out the people who you're losing or who are fading in a different way or need to be brought in a different way. Like that emotional intelligence piece, it's really hard to be taught that. Right.
I agree.
So I think some people can just bulldoze through and they'll lose people as they're bulldozing through. But as a small company, you don't have 1,000 employees.
Right.
You're, like you said, 50 or under.
Right.
For each one, it's like we gotta be able to connect to each one of them. We can't lose 4 or 5.
Right.
Like we can't lose 10% of the people.
Correct.
Right. We gotta make sure that they're all on and everyone feels heard, everyone feels valued.
Agreed.
And I don't think a lot of people can do that. And a lot of people will just be like, well, this is the way I am, right? I do my thing,
Right.
Like it or not.
Yeah.
But when you're the leader and it's your job to rally the troops and make sure everybody's on the same page, that emotional intelligence piece.
Yeah.
That's a hard one to learn.
Yeah, it is. It is. And he hasn't. I mean, it's kind of fun to watch, really. From my perspective, I'm now in that sit back kind of mode, watching him develop and then try not to butt in too much. And he's probably laughing once he hears this. It's like,
what are you talking about?
They're butting in way too much. So I'm at that stage where I really want to truly take a step back and just watch him on it. And I really want to be there only as a counsel for him, when he needs me.
Yep.
And he's really close to that stage.
Well, he's going to move you to the board of directors soon.
Yeah.
And get you into that position.
I think.
Yeah.
I'd like to think.
I'll take a little bit of your advice on it, but
so yeah,
that'd be the perfect situation. What are a couple of? I always want to jump back to like good key memories. Like, what are some really fun times that you guys had? When the kids were really done. Can you think back to just some really fun moments that you guys had? It's always fun to go back down memory lane.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to. We were always a fairly active family. whether it was skiing or kids playing soccer, or baseball, or football. And we always wanted to do things together, obviously, as a family. When they were much younger, we really encouraged them to ski. We really encouraged them to play golf because we knew those were two sports that they could have with them for a long time and play, and enjoy for a long time. And we have so many fond memories of when they were younger and somebody didn't want to ski and then somebody else got coaxed her into skiing, and you could see the big grin on her face and the hot cocoa dripping down her ski jacket. So, I mean, those were fun. And we used to take the kids golfing all the time. And Steph and I would laugh about it because really it was just an opportunity for them to eat lunch. So it was the hot dog, it was the Coke, it was the candy bar in the cart as mom and dad are trying to chase the balls down and whatnot. But we had fun, a lot of fun. And we traveled a lot. We spent some time traveling together as a family, and they loved the travel. So we'd go to DC and Boston and cities like that. And it was fun, watch them explore those areas and learn a lot of different things and see how, just kind of watching our kids develop and as to what they liked. Like DC offers so many different opportunities of, from currency to aerospace to, all the documentation, of course, and the monuments. So it's just kind of funny to watch them develop interest in certain areas. And so travel, you can't even say enough about travel. It's such a great experience for families and children to see other cultures. And we were blessed one time, a really fond memory for all of us to this day is we went to South Africa and spent time on safari and spent time in Cape Town and to experience different cultures and different ways of life. And it was just an invaluable situation. And I think they loved it. I know we did. Steph and I really enjoyed it a lot. We need to do more of that. You get caught up in school and development. And obviously our businesses and we don't do enough of it. We need to. And we've told the kids once they, settle in, we want to travel with them more. We really enjoy them. We all have unique insights to life when we're on the road. And meeting new people and being in new places. So we really enjoy our kids a lot to this day and enjoy traveling with them.
That's awesome.
We're hoping to continue that now as Steph and I are winding down a little bit more. We'd love to just travel and to take them on different trips, of course. So travel is important. We love it. I know Steph, she really misses it when we're not traveling with the kids. So something we're looking for.
Those are great memories and just a great time. Well, before we wrap up, I always want to ask one final question, and then I'll let you get going. But what does being a father figure mean to you?
Well, that's fantastic. You want to try to set a good example. We all know. We try very hard. I think that the biggest challenge is, you want that example to be there. What I really love about being a parent is just helping guide them. Do we micromanage our kids at certain points of their lives? Yes, we do. We shouldn't, but we do, because we're there as a protector. In our lives, we see danger everywhere we look and everywhere we drive and go. So we try to be the protector, but I have hope that we have given our kids the ability to make choices, good choices. Of course, you want them to make good choices, but just give them the ability to think on their own and make good choices and make good decisions for themselves and develop into relevant human beings that give back to society. And if there's anything our kids do, they see that. They see that ability that they have the ability to give it back. We're blessed. We worked hard. They worked hard. but now it's our opportunity to give back in some form or fashion, be it a talk like this, be it a financial contribution to organizations that, help our society, all that stuff. They understand that. I'm glad they see that from Steph and I. And I hope that they take that now to the next level because it's our job. We're just stewards here for a short term.
Yep.
And it's our job to give back. God wants us to do that. And it's our ability to love people and they get it. They love the people that they're with and they truly appreciate our obligation to society.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'd like to think that was the best part of what Steph and I could bring for them is it's giving back. We're just stewards here for a short period.
Yep.
So,
well, I love it. That's perfect. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there.
Well, thank you so much. I can't thank you enough. This has been a blast.
I appreciate.
I hope I didn't monologue too long.
No, this is perfect. I think there's so much good information. So these come out on Tuesdays. Remember, be sure to catch this one. It'll be out in probably a week or two. I want to get this one out quickly, but thank you guys all for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.
Thanks, sir.
Absolutely.
A lot of fun.
That was good. Really fun.
Yeah, we got